In this episode,
I really wanted to prove to myself that I can make it here alone without a relationship or a support system. When I was home in Canada, my mom mentioned to me or complained that I was being too abrupt and upfront and I should be a bit more softer. If you want to grow on Instagram or TikTok, you need to... When I get messages from people who say, well, Hannah, I follow you and I'm in your community and you helped me so much and made me feel at home and made me feel less like alone, that's what keeps me going. It's a 24/7 job. It's always, staying on top of things, staying ahead of trends. When you make a video, especially with brands, you are like the script writer, the producer, the editor, the sound manager, which I never had felt this pain in my life. It was like someone stabbing me from the inside with knives and also twisting my insides. And when I think that other women experience this pain monthly or daily, and I would say happiness comes and goes in waves.
Welcome to Wellness and Care podcast. And today we have someone special. Hannah, from what I heard about you, you have a life experience worth sharing, and I think you can inspire a lot of people with your experience and life stories.
Yes, I'm also super excited to be here.
yeah, thank you so much for joining our podcast. Super pleased that you agreed to become our guest because we have a personal story how we connected with each other. 2 years ago, you texted me on Instagram and asked me when I just moved to Hamburg if I need any help. And you followed me through TikTok. And then I realized, oh my God, a popular Hamburg influencer is texting me and offering help. And to be honest, you are one of the kindest people I have ever met. So I'm sure it will be very nice and pleasant conversation with you. And just for our guests who don't follow you yet, but they will follow you for sure in the future. So you have more than 100,000 followers on Instagram, nearly 100,000 followers on TikTok. You left your 9-to-5 job. Now you're self-employed in Germany. You are founder of female empowerment community BBA. You run a blog, Hannah's Hamburg. You travel a lot, so you definitely have what to share.
So I just want to start with the first question. I'd say if you had to give a TED talk, how would you introduce yourself?
How to give a TED Talk, how to introduce myself. Well, I've always wanted to give a TED Talk, and it's something that I've been thinking about and thinking, one day I'll have this amazing story. But I definitely am someone who every day when I'm in Germany, wondering how I got here. And it's a really short but long story, and it's the fact that I always wanted to... My dad would tell me stories about traveling Europe in the 70s, and I was always so fascinated by these bedtime stories, and I always dreamed of living in Europe, but never actually thought it would happen. And so when I took a Europe trip in 2012 with some of my best friends, I was so amazed at everything, and I was waiting to come back. And the first thing that brought me back was love. Like many women, they get inspired to move across the world for partners. But I have to say it was also a huge motivator for me, that the fact that I would get to live in Germany with some German man, but the big motivator was living abroad. So I wanted my story to be a bit different than others, and I wasn't just going to move across the world for some guy and not have my own experience. So I decided, instead of moving across the world for a guy which I only met one time, which would have been crazy itself, I would use that opportunity and also that support system and go to university in Cologne and just first test the waters, but also finish my degree abroad. But that relationship didn't last. We broke up 4 years ago, and I could have had the opportunity to go back home to Canada, and I really, really thought about it. But I thought, I came here originally, and whenever I would meet someone, I never would say first that I came here for a guy. I always would say, first I came here for me, and also was inspired by love. So I stuck to my words, and I stayed in Germany. And because that relationship ended, I really wanted to prove to myself that I could make it here alone without a relationship or a support system. And I did that. So I decided to stay now. I've been here in Germany for almost 10 years. Went through a lot of stuff alone, had plenty of funny dating stories, grew my career here, started a community of women who all have similar ambitions. And that's something I never had when I moved to Germany. So yes, that was a really long TED Talk introduction, but I haven't actually given that much thought of how to shorten that. But that was the Zusammenfassung, as we like to say in Germany.
So it's just the beginning of your introductions. When you have your TED Talk, then you will maybe introduce yourself in another way. Thank you for this introduction. And if there were no German boyfriend, would you still move to Europe, specifically to Germany?
I would think that I probably would have found my way, at least doing some kind of study abroad or something after that experience. Of course, it would have been a lot more scarier to move to a country without any supportive person there. And I think people who do that are really, really brave. But I really had to make the experience for myself because my university just started their study abroad program to Germany, and I had to basically be the first one to go. So I'm feeling like it may have not happened as quickly, but eventually I feel like I would have found my way here.
And I'm also looking forward to hear your dating experiences, as you mentioned.
Maybe. We'll write a book. Just kidding.
Yes.
Hannah, do you ever feel homesick?
Homesickness comes and goes. It's especially more prevalent when I go home and come back. I was just in Canada for a month, and I'm lucky as I'm self-employed. I can go home to Canada for a month and take that time. But when I come back, it's like reverse culture shock. I get reverse culture shock when I go home and then come back again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in Germany again. So now I feel definitely homesick and wishing I was there, but the feeling goes away and then you get grounded again. But then, 2 or 3 months goes by and then I'll be homesick again. So it just comes and goes in waves. But most of the time, I'm always missing my family.
Yeah. And the question, how actually moving to Germany has changed your personality? Like, what are the most prominent changes in yourself that you can point out?
Yeah, so one thing that I would say is something that I don't really like about myself this change is that when I was home in Canada, my mom mentioned to me or complained that I was being too abrupt and upfront and I should be a bit more softer. And I've changed that way. And I really had to think, and I'm like, am I being abrupt? Like, what am I doing? And I think it was just, I have changed because most Germans, they say how they feel and they're not brushing lightly against subjects. And Canadians are brushing quite lightly against subjects or will say things nicely to not hurt your feelings. And as much as I love that, I kind of got used to the German way where you just kind of say things how they are to the point. And some people might find this rude, and maybe my mom was finding this rude, so I had to really start thinking of what I was saying and be like, am I being too abrupt? And those kind of things, I think, is not a good change to my personality, but I had to adjust to this in Germany because if I would stay like my soft Canadian self that's just sorry all the time and doesn't say what I want, and if something in work is wrong and there's something I want to change, instead of just saying like what I want and being like, oh, maybe you should maybe change this, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work in this industry and you won't go very far. So that's something that definitely changed about my personality.
And yet, is there anything positive that you have noticed, or your family or your friends from Germany, from living in Germany?
I think my family and friends at home will say that, one, I have a German accent, which, okay, when I go home in Canada, I can hear that I probably speak a bit differently than everyone, and I can hear their accent, so obviously I might have changed the way I talk. But it's definitely not German. It's just an accent which is kind of from all of my friends here. We all kind of start talking in a way, the same way, because we're all international and not all of us have English language as our first language. So you kind of just start speaking in a different way. I don't know. An international European accent.
Yeah,
Makes me sound
general English.
But good things that have changed about me. Well, I'm definitely way more independent now than when I lived in Canada. Like, I think moving abroad can make you super independent because you have to manage everything on your own, especially if you don't have a partner here. You really have to figure out a lot of stuff alone. And that can make you almost hyper independent, which I find myself sometimes, even though that I live with my partner now. But other personality stuff, I'm way more organized and on time. Definitely way more on time. I'm still running 5 minutes behind most of the time, but like compared to when I first moved to Germany, it's much better.
I super agree with you regarding being too independent. Can fix everything on my own. Unfortunately, as a Ukrainian woman, it would be a culture shock for me, would probably in the past. But yeah, Germany makes everyone extremely independent.
Yes, strong Slavic woman in Germany.
Hannah, and you are doing extremely a lot of things. How do you prioritize all your projects and how do you manage the amount of comments, information, and communication that flies to you non-stop?
I have my notifications turned off. I have Instagram notifications turned off. I have notifications turned off is definitely my thing. And on my phone I have multiple focus modes. So in the morning I have a focus mode that's like pre-work, and then I have a focus mode which is like working time, which allows some notifications. And then I have focus mode for the evening and weekends. So I'm very selective with what notifications I receive. That's one way I'm doing it. But honestly, my inbox is a mess most of the time. And I have multiple unread messages. And yeah, surprisingly, like my Instagram was probably the least unread messages for some reason, but everything else seems to be kind of a mess.
Yeah, so the key to keep yourself organized is to keep the notification off, right?
Yeah.
And what else?
Notifications off, and like if something's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. So if I forget to put something in my calendar, I'll just completely forget it even happens.
Uh-huh. So if you want to do something, you always have to schedule something, give it a time.
Yes.
Okay.
Calendar invites are very needed for me. I had a massage last week on Friday, and I booked it. I completely forgot to put it in my calendar, and then I completely forgot. So yeah, I got charged for that. Yeah, my mistake.
You know, like Germans plan 3 months in advance everything. Do you also plan everything right now 3 months in advance?
No, like 2 or 3 weeks most.
Okay.
If it's a bigger like weekend trip or vacation, then yeah. But yeah, I also had to learn that in Germany you have to plan things in advance.
Extremely in advance.
And I wanted to ask, like you mentioned, then when moving to Germany, you became more independent, more organized. But I want to ask, did you become also more happier in some way?
I would say happiness comes and goes in waves. There's a different kind of happiness living abroad. You have like different kind of freedoms and stuff. But I think I wouldn't say I'm less happy living here than I would be living in Canada, because I don't really have many adult memories. Oh, like, when I lived in Canada, I was a young adult. I was 21, and I moved here when I was 22 or 23. So 23 to 33 is 10 years, and it's basically my whole young adult life here. So I can't really like compare my happiness if it was more happy there. But I know that, yeah, it's not been always easy in Germany, but it's definitely brought me a lot of happiness.
Okay. And do you have like a clear definition of what happiness means to you?
Yeah, it's, I would say that feeling where everything feels aligned and like you are where you're supposed to be. And that there's not too many things in your life that are bringing you down. I would say that's definitely kind of happiness I've felt here.
Sounds good.
I want to ask you if social media sometimes bring you down or not, like comments, feedback, or anything like that.
Sure. I would say the comment section of my videos is a really not a fun place to hang out for very long, and I rarely read them all. Of course, when the video is posted, I'll like check the comments for the first day, but when videos start to go viral, there's always going to be something you say that's wrong. Even if you've done nothing wrong, the video will somehow, rub people the wrong way. Like I just posted a video about getting my citizenship in Germany with every good intention, but people took it the wrong way, that I'm just going to abuse the system and leave Germany and not contribute anymore to society. But it was like, no, I want my citizenship so I can eventually one day go back to Canada with the freedom to come back and not have to start from zero again. And I think that's totally fair. Like any other German can leave and come back freely. But yes, some people just get rubbed the wrong way. And the comments section can be very toxic for me, especially if I start getting in fights with people. But I've stopped caring as much as I used to.
Yeah. And you have almost 20K followers on all your social media platforms. Has it been a long journey for you?
Definitely. I started in 2020, and I think I had, I don't know, 1,000 followers on Instagram and nothing on TikTok. And it all started on TikTok, where I started making viral videos about living in Germany and funny videos, alone in my bedroom during the pandemic. And those started going viral. And then eventually, Instagram released the Reels function. And then I just started reposting them. And then Instagram also picked up. And now I think I have more followers on Instagram than TikTok. And now TikTok used to be my favorite platform, but Instagram kind of has won me back. I don't know. I think it's easier to engage with your community on Instagram than TikTok. On TikTok, it's just, it feels like, who am I talking to here?
Exactly.
Why 5 has commented, and on Instagram, there's more engagement with your audience. So
I feel even right now it's extremely hard to grow on TikTok if there is a new page, new person. So it doesn't become viral like you post, but somehow algorithm on Instagram with Reels is more profitable towards new creators or just creators than TikTok. I don't know what changed, but something has changed, I feel.
Definitely. On TikTok, it used to be super easy to grow and you'd make a funny, trendy reel. Now they want like 1 minute long, 10-minute long. They're always changing things. And I think that was their first mistake, was they changed it too quick. They're like, oh, people are growing too easy here. You want to make it more like Instagram. It's hard to grow and make it more addicting and people have to be on the platform more. But then people just went to Instagram. Instagram Reel algorithm was just like, sure, we'll push your reels because we'll steal everyone back from TikTok. And it worked. I'm sorry,
TikTok.
Yeah, Hannah Maria, you are both influencers, right? And I want to ask you maybe questions that maybe help our audience for those who want to start blogging, or like what would you recommend to someone who wants to start blogging, let's say about web design or photography, but have zero experience with social media, but he want to grow on Instagram or TikTok?
Hannah, go first.
I would say, yeah, if you want to grow on Instagram or TikTok, you need to, I don't want to say defy your niche because everyone says that, but what is something that you could talk about all the time that makes you authentic and unique? And what is your angle on that topic that makes you unique? And then really dive into those topics because, if you're going to be like a photography blogger, what kind of photography is it going to be? Why is your photography unique? What can you share with others that make people want to follow you? And then if you have something that works, create a series because making series is one of the best ways to grow on Instagram, especially if you make one video and you see that it works, do it again and rinse and repeat because that's the easiest way to grow on Instagram at the moment.
Okay, my turn. I would add, I totally agree with Hannah. She is super pro, and I love when you send me some recommendations and ideas and inspiration for my content. I would say that it's very important to keep it regular. Unfortunately, the algorithm works in such a way that if you post just something once per month, nobody will see you. And at least at the beginning, every single day would be nice. I know it's hard. It's not about how amazing your content or not. It's about trying to become visible. And unfortunately, social media is not about quality, but quantity right now, what I see. And you need to see some progress or some analytics from not from 5 videos, but from 50. For example, you have created 50 videos or posts or carousels, and to analyze them and to pick up the best of these videos. For example, they have a common trick, or there is a specific topic that becomes viral, or there is a trendy sound right now on TikTok or Reels or YouTube Shorts, and you need to repeat and repeat this trend. So I think it's the things that you need constantly to be aware of what is going on in current social media trends. And that's the first thing. And the second thing, not to be shy to show yourself and to be brave enough to distinguish yourself from others. And because nobody wants to see copies, but people want to connect with you. And connection starts not only from the things you copy, but connection starts from the things you're unique in. They could be positive, they could be negative, they could be optimistic or opposite, but something that differs you from others.
I totally agree. You're just as a professional as me, so even I got some tips. I'm not consistent at all anymore. I should probably be more consistent, but I'm also 2023. I think I burnt myself out a bit too much, too many projects and too much content, and now I'm just trying to get more content out there again, but slowly but surely. But yeah, content creation burnout is a real thing too.
No, especially if you have a burnout from content creation. And could you tell us if you have burnout from, and it's your job, what do you do on and what you suggest to do in this case?
Well, since I'm self-employed, I can't just go on burnout leave like you could in Germany, and that's really annoying. And going to a doctor and actually getting prescribed burnout is not that easy with self-employed either because your health insurance would have to pay you. Now I just try to take a little bit of a step back and just do the bare minimum. Also, over Christmas time, I had someone take control of my Instagram account and they were reposting old content that performed really well for me and replying to all the comments. And that was super, super helpful. And it worked quite well. Like she just reposted old content and then took care of all the engagement after. And I think no one really noticed. So If you didn't notice, thank you.
No, I haven't noticed at all. At
Yes.
all. So great job. So for our listeners, it's a very special secret hint. Almost nobody knows.
Now they all know, but yeah, I think you can do this once. I mean, it costs money to help get people to help you, but in this case, it was worth it just to give me some time back and some time off of my phone and stuff. So.
And guys, what's the ultimate goal for you to grow your channels? Like, is this to spread some message, to maybe commercial goal, or what it is for you that keeps you going with your channels?
When I get messages from people who say, well, Hannah, I follow you and I'm in your community and you helped me so much and made me feel at home and made me feel less like alone, that's what keeps me going. And that's why I keep doing it, is because I want to help people, support people on their journeys, and give them kind of resources and content in a community that I didn't have when I first moved to Germany. These kind of messages keep me going. And I think in 2024, I want to focus less on differences between Germany and Canadian and Canada and culture shocks, and more on, trying new things, doing new experiences, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone kind of content. So hopefully that shift will be good.
Yeah, and I want to ask you actually, how did you choose this topic about traveling at the beginning in 2020?
So I had a blog about living in Germany that I rarely wrote in. I was a terrible blogger, but I did have like one post that did quite well, and it was 1 out of 100 weird things about living in Germany. And I think it was even during Tumblr times I posted that, and it got retumbled multiple times, and it was like, yeah, claim to fame or whatever. But I really always liked this topic and talking about the cultural differences. And then I saw on TikTok a girl in the Netherlands do something similar, and I was like, wait a minute, like I could do this easily on TikTok. At the time, I didn't even really know how TikTok worked.
Hannah, as an influencer and businesswoman in Germany, what are the biggest struggles you have faced in this country?
There's a lot of bureaucracy, especially when it comes to starting as a business as an immigrant. It took me a long time to even get the approval from the Ausländerbehörde that I could start a business. So my previous visa was I could only be employed. So when I finally was in Germany long enough, I could switch to a visa saying that I could be self-employed. So as soon as I got that, I could actually officially start my business. I think that's a blocker for a lot of people that want to start like a side thing. If you're not a European citizen, it can be very hard with bureaucracy to actually get a tax number to start your business. That was definitely a big blocker. Also, that everything is in German. Obviously, it's in German. We're in Germany, but there's so many internationals which have so much to contribute to the economy in Germany that I think it should be, the resources to start a business in Germany should also be in English, so it's more accessible for non-Germans to start businesses too.
I think entrepreneurs in Germany, these people are very brave and have extreme patience. From what I see regarding taxes, regarding bureaucracy, you feel like sometimes like in a paradise when you work in a company and you are not self-employed, so you have your support from your company. But when you are employed, you take all the biggest struggles on yourself.
Definitely. Also, it's every single month you have to make a certain amount of income just to cover your bases, and this can be very stressful. Also, things like health insurance and insurances you have to pay fully out of pocket. There's no one paying half of it for you, so this can be something that's not easy to deal with.
Would it be easier for you to start business in Canada?
It could be. Health insurance and stuff is a lot cheaper there. And it's more a country set up for entrepreneurs because, that's always been the dream. You go to North America and you start your life But in Germany, this kind of entrepreneurial mindset is not as prevalent as in Canada.
Metro houses in Lithuania.
I haven't noticed like anything regarding like people who actually there's more people who want to start business here. But from what I see, from my environment, I see like there are many people who are entrepreneurs, self-employed, quite many digital nomads actually. The bureaucracy is not so bad as in Germany, and the tax rate, as far as I know, is below 20%. So it's more or less, I guess, fine.
Yeah, in Germany you can pay up to 40% tax, so it's no fun.
As a self-employed, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, when you work in a company, you also pay around 40% of taxes from your income.
Yeah, I mean, your tax rate is usually like 25 to 30%, then you have like another 20% in health insurance.
I'm telling you, people like you are super brave.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly. And Hannah, right now I think is age of content creation. And how do you think how it changed the world, like in a good or bad way?
I think Instagram, and because of TikTok, Instagram had to change, and people are looking for more of like an authentic, raw people to follow that aren't completely made up and perfect outfit, perfect hair, perfect life. These kind of like down to earth influencers are definitely on the rise. People who wear normal brands of clothing, sometimes their life looks like kind of messy. The rise of the authentic influencer, down to earth influencer, is something I'm seeing for sure.
Right now, I want to make a quick pause. As many of you guys know, I used to have severe acne condition. Right now, my skin is not perfect. Sometimes I'm breaking out, get acne scarring and pigmentation. And I can get upset. I'm just a human being. And the tool that helps a lot my skin and mood is red light therapy, especially this red light therapy LED mask by Current Body. I use it over 6 months, and what I have noticed, my skin feels glowing and acne scarring fades away much faster. Additional bonus, it was scientifically proved that LED light therapy helps with our mood, especially during these dark days. I use this mask or in the morning or in the evening, depends when I have time. It takes just 10 minutes to care about your skin. If you want to try this LED mask by Current Body, I have 15% discount for you. My code is Maria with double ICB. Also, the link is in description box.
And most of the influencers I follow or content creators I follow are like that. If there's some influencer that's too like, this is my morning routine. I wake up at 5 in the morning. I do my Pilates. I eat my avocado toast and have my green smoothie. Then I go for a walk. And then this, and then, my life is so perfect in every single way. I'm like, next.
But you just described me without the word perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you make content like that, but you're still very authentic, so it's okay. But like, day in my life, like everyone knows has been curated, and someone went into their bed, put makeup on, and then put the camera on, and then got up. It's just like, please don't.
Yeah. Like some people still think that content creation it's not a serious job. What would you say to people who are not content creators about this field? Maybe you would like, for example, you're on a stage and you want to say like for people who don't have any clue about content, the truth about this field.
I think people know what they see from the outside from content creators is that they get a lot of free shit. They get paid for advertisements, and I think, wow, like such an easy job. They just probably sit at home and drink coffee all day and just wait for people to email them to give them money. Not necessarily. Like it's a 24/7 job. It's always, staying on top of things, staying ahead of trends. When you make a video, especially with brands, you are like the script writer, the producer, the editor, the sound manager. And then also the engagement manager that we talked with all the, replied to all the comments, stuff like this. So there's a lot of work that goes into one video that people don't see, even if it's just a 30-second video. There's a lot more thought behind it and a lot more strategy than people actually think.
I remember once you filmed backstory how you were preparing a video for one of the brands, or it was like some liquor or alcohol brand. I don't remember for sure. But you used so much light. You had several people to help you to film the content. You had expensive cameras for that.
Yeah, for those kind of things, you need sometimes more than one hand, especially if there's a really strict briefing and they want certain things. You can't just do a selfie video and stuff. You have to make it look nice and professional and cozy, and make it look like an actual advertisement.
Do you think you produce more than you consume?
I would say I consume more than I produce, because I have to consume a lot to figure out how to make my videos perform just as well as other people's videos. So I have to stay on top of everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
I want right now move to the topic about BBA. My favorite community in Hamburg.
Yeah.
Hannah, what was the motivation behind creating BBA? How did it start?
BBA is a community for international professional women in Germany. Right now we're in Hamburg, and it started because I was employed in the corporate world in Germany for 6 years, and I didn't really know many other people that had similar positions like me in other companies, and I wanted to connect with those people. So we started with a small meetup, and that kind of grew from there. I think the meetup had 12 people. We did that a few times a year. Then the pandemic happened. And then after the pandemic, there was such a huge demand for people to meet people, because there was a lot of influx of immigrants, international women in Hamburg that were stuck at home with their partners or work and didn't get a chance to meet new people or make friends. And so we just started doing these events where not only could you make friends, but also grow your network, perhaps get a better job opportunity, help someone find a partner, or not a partner, but a good connection to help them grow in something they want to learn. And then from Facebook, we quickly shifted to WhatsApp groups, which is funny because these WhatsApp groups are definitely very active and people are very, very engaged. We also have so much fun in there. And I'm sure some people leave because it's overwhelming, but everyone in these groups are so helpful and respectful and kind to each other, and also very supportive of each other. And we've kind of grown from there. We have big events. We just had an event on last week with over 60 people, where we had a whole full day event with different workshops about growing your career or starting a business in Germany. And we plan on doing more things all the time. And yes, it's something that's kind of grown more than I would have expected it to. And it's become definite more than a passion project, something that takes a lot of my time, but something that I also really, really love at the moment. And something I never had when I moved to Germany in 2014. And I'm happy all those people who have this, because they'll have a much better experience here.
How people can join your community?
They can join by going to our website, which is bbacommunity.com, and then to the link that says join us, and you can register there. Anyone who's identifying as a woman can register, and you'll get access to the WhatsApp group right away from there.
Perfect, yeah. I think it's an amazing idea just to have a community, because it's just an incredible opportunity to socialize with people. Like, even if you are new in city and you are lost, or you don't have a job, or any kind of struggles you're facing right now, you could just go to those kind of groups and meet people who might help you. And you might find
Exactly.
some answer to your question. It's just super valuable.
Yes, I think it's been valuable for a lot of people, and people are joining this group every single day. There's new people joining, which is super fun.
Yeah.
I want to add a note that thanks to BBA, not only this thing, but for example, thanks to this community, I found my German school where I'm going to study soon in February, because girls advised so many of them, and I contacted every school they sent, and I found mine. So it's just a small piece of help I received from this community, and moreover, girls who live in other cities, even other countries, they still join this community to ask for international advice, career advice, or maybe they are planning to move to Hamburg or Germany. Extremely helpful.
Yes, we have a job advice and job postings WhatsApp chat, which people can post jobs in there, and people can ask for advice, whether negotiating a salary or they have a micromanager boss. Everyone has been, as I said, super supportive in these groups, and we're all just trying to help each other. So I think it's definitely a group that anyone should be in if they're looking for that kind of support.
Yeah. Actually, when I was checking your Instagram page of BBA, I saw that I have some of my friends who are following you. And some of them are from Lithuania, actually, and another friend was from Australia. It was interesting because, the word about BBA is spreading not only in Hamburg, but all over the world, which is incredible.
Nice. Yeah, one day we'd love to go global. First, we're trying to figure out how to make it work in Hamburg and then spread our wings a little bit more. But what I learned is that first, you make it work with what you're doing, and then once you feel stable, you can grow. So everyone be patient. We'll be eventually there.
Yeah. And what are the main struggles that you think you help women to overcome in Germany with your community?
The main struggles, I think, would be, first finding connections, whether that's a friend or a potential network connection who can help you get that job at your dream company. That's what we're all about, is like creating those connections and also being able to grow your network at the same time. And that's something a lot of women struggle with when they come here, because you have to find a job. Hopefully, most of our community members are wanting to find English jobs because their German's not good enough. And we give this kind of platform where we can all recommend each other and also help each other at the same time. And when I lived in Germany in 2014, I didn't really know many people here. We had a few Facebook groups, but there was nothing focused on like professional, ambitious women in Germany. So I think this kind of solves the problem.
And that's important to mention that everything what you do together with your team, with Chelsea, Christy, other girls, it's almost everything is voluntarily. So you deal with extreme amount of work to organize any event, and just for everyone who will listen to this, it's just to appreciate the amount of work you do together with girls to create one event, one post, even one group, community, new group on WhatsApp. It's lots of work, and you do it from your heart. It's just big applause to this.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. I mean, we're mostly working for free, I would say. We do have a few things that we earn a bit of money from, but the time it takes to keep the community alive is definitely mostly volunteer basis. And that's something we would love to change. We would love for it to be all of our full-time income. But yes, we're working on it.
Yeah, it will be. It will come in the future. And what does BBA give you personally?
Gives me a sense of purpose. One of my things I learned about myself is that I love inspiring people and helping people, even if it's not one-to-one. If I can inspire on like a large amount and also help this many people at once, that gives me a big sense of happiness. And just at these events, when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I found someone, I found friends, and I had such a good vibe, and this is, what I needed." I'm like, even if I made only 100 euros from this and it took me, 3 days of work, I'm like, this paid me as well. These kind of comments. It makes me very happy.
Cool. Hannah, I want to cover one very important topic. Escaping from 9 to 5 job. Like, I know this topic is quite popular on internet, and a lot of people are just they craving, they want to escape this 9 to 5 routine and start something on their own. I want to ask you, how was it for you, and how did you feel when you realized that you are no longer a 9 to 5 worker?
I felt very free. My main reason for becoming self-employed was that I could spend more time with my family. If they come to visit or if I go home, I was able to go home 3 times this year. I mean, that was a lot for me as well, but I could take the amount of time off I needed and still have a stable income and spend 30 days with my family without the boss being like, oh, you only get 30 days per year. So that was definitely a big thing for me. And also, I can start work and end work when I want. There's the 9 to 5 is drilled into so many people's heads that you must start work at 9 and close your laptop at 5. But most of the time, I start work when I want. And sometimes I am working until 10 at night. But there'll be times where I don't work from like 3 until 7. So I just work when I have the energy and have the motivation rather than someone saying when I have to be online.
And regarding traveling, so you mentioned that you traveled a lot this previous year to Canada. So you travel a lot to different time zones. How do you help your female body to cope with all this traveling stress?
I don't. I'm mostly tired a lot of the time from travel, and this is why in 2024 I now to travel less because it's exhausting and also not good for my health. But drinking less alcohol has definitely helped with my stress level, and trying to eat a big breakfast and things like this. But I'm still struggling with these kind of topics.
It's very important to be honest with this because just to show that nobody is perfect and we are all struggling with this. For example, when I'm traveling, doesn't matter to what country, my skin breaks out. And then it's like, oh my God, should I just stay in Hamburg forever and not travel at all? Like, doesn't matter. Am I traveling to Tenerife, to Ukraine, to where I was, to Portugal? My skin was getting worse immediately.
Yeah, it's the stress and the different stuff and everything.
I also want to ask you, Hannah, regarding the 9 to 5 job topic. I want to ask you, what message would you leave to people who actually want to start something on their own, or struggling to actually leave their usual job and start something? Like, give some motivation, helps people.
I think, I had to wait for the rug to be ripped under me to become fully self-employed. And I think you don't need to wait for that moment where you're done and you're tired of a certain job and you're not as motivated anymore, and for someone else to notice that and change something. I think once you already start feeling like you need change and this is something that's not working for you and you have a really good idea, is to work on the side a bit at least and see if it's actually something that's going to work. And once you can already create the income, at least half of the income you had while being employed, then I think it's time to cut the strings of being employed.
Yeah, but let's say if you have a job and you don't hate it, you're okay with your job, you have a decent pay, and you're satisfied with this, and you're living a good life basically. But there is something is missing. It feels like you're not fully fulfilled with what you have, and it feels like you can open up your potential more. And it feels like you're stuck in this comfort zone for way too long, but still you kind of you don't feel very comfortable actually going beyond this comfort zone and starting something.
I think you should definitely think of what you can do on the side that can already maybe fulfill the things you're not getting in your job. And then if it's something you find very fulfilling and something you feel more confident in, the more you build it, then you can ask yourself, is it worth it to leave this comfort zone and make the cut on something that I may love more? Being in a cozy job, we've all been in a situation where we just have everything we need. The job feels like family. And, why would I leave them? Because I have everything, a good salary, good manager, but you're not happy, the tasks aren't fun. Then it's time to think, am I going to grow from this? And if you're not going to grow from this, then you're actually wasting your own time. Because eventually those people who feel like family may or may not feel the same. And there's things that come like layoffs and things like this. And you just have to be prepared for that and build
Yeah.
something on the side as well.
Yes, yes. Because sometimes you like everything is fine and your team is lovely and everything is good, but you ask yourself this question like, am I going to do this for my whole life or what? Or I will start something more exciting and make my life, more vibrant, more vivid in some ways.
With more meaning. Hannah, I want to ask you right now one personal question. Your endometriosis story, if you are not against to share this. So you started to share this information about your health also on social media. And for our listeners who don't know what is endometriosis, it's a serious disease among females in which tissue similar to the lining of the uretus grows outside the uretus. So there are different stages of endometriosis, and it can cause extreme pain, especially during periods. And unfortunately, it's still not popular topic to talk to. Many women even not diagnosed correctly with this disease. And I want to ask you if your lifestyle and relationship with yourself has changed after this painful experience with endometriosis.
Definitely. When I was diagnosed with endometriosis in 2019, I had a very different lifestyle. I lived alone. I was traveling a lot for work. I was often stressed because I had to take care of everything by myself in Germany. I did not have the healthiest diet. I probably had a pretty restrictive diet and also over exercise, I would say. So my body was just constantly in stress. And I had my first outbreak, endometriosis outbreak, I would say flare up, which I never had felt this pain in my life. It was like someone stabbing me from the inside with knives and also twisting my insides. And when I think that other women experience this pain monthly or daily and have to deal with this and they're not getting the help that they need, it's very, very frightening for our health industry. Luckily, since I was in Germany, I was able to go and see a specialist, and they recommended me to get it all removed, which I did, and that helped the problem significantly. It was a long recovery process, but also I had to change my lifestyle. I mostly travel less. I drink a lot less alcohol. I eat a lot less food, which make me have pain, like dairy and gluten and sugar and these kind of things combined are a cause flare up with endometriosis. So I had to change a lot of those things. And also I did Chinese medicine, which was acupuncture, which helped a lot. I think generally that took a lot of inflammation out of my body. And since I started that last year, actually, my pain is a lot less or barely there, I'd like to say. So I don't know if it healed it, but
It's in remission.
yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that Chinese medicine and acupuncture help you so much. I still want to try it, and it's in my bucket list to try acupuncture this year for my also health, hormonal health for acne, because it's still inflammation.
Well, when I visited this doctor, she asked me questions that no other doctor has ever asked me, like, can I see your palms? Can I see your eyes? Can I see your tongue? Like, how is this? How's that? How's your stress levels? What's it like at home? La la la. And a doctor will just kind of take like a stethoscope, look at your heart, look into some things, take a blood test, but they never are really asking those right kind of questions where they can see signs of stress and inflammation. I remember from one week to the next, I went to my acupuncturist and she was like, Hannah, your face is so bloated. It's like, oh, thanks. And she did some stuff to kind of reduce this bloat, but like it was because of built up stress in my system. So these kind of things I think are really nice.
Hannah, and I have the last question to you. What would you say to a teenage you if you had a chance?
A teenage me, I would think as a teenager in high school, didn't really know what I was doing, and I was one of those people who was not really, I wouldn't say not good, but not motivated by some subjects in school, like, math, physics, social studies, history, all those things that you need to have good grades in to get into a good university. But I decided to do the things like cooking, sewing, theater, musical theater, photography, film studies, all the fun credits. And I was still able to get into like an average university. And I always thought, I kind of was fucking myself up. But actually, without all those things that I learned in high school, which are actually things more that you need in life than a physics course, although it's good to know those things, helped me get where I am today and have me be talented and have enough talent to do what I'm doing compared to someone who was more an academic. So I would say that you did the right thing, little Hannah. You just went with things that you actually like doing versus what you think you should be doing. And I still made it work. So that's probably what I would tell myself.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. It was so nice to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. What is your guys' goal with your podcast? I know you're just starting out, and I don't know how many viewers you have, hopefully at least some, but what is your end goal? What is your dream for the podcast?
So we were just talking as friends. We had this amazing conversation that usually were really deep and meaningful. And we decided, like, why don't we take it public, right? And Maria was really interested in starting podcasts, but she was thinking whether she started on their own or how it should be better. And I guess I said that let's do it. Let's do it together, right, Maria? Yeah. And Maria actually was very quick in getting this small like business plan and the doc file, like step by step what we should do, And we decided like, okay, let's do it. Let's find the right tools. Let's buy mics. Let's buy this light stand, and start it. And basically, the main idea is to share our experience, like our life struggles, like self-confidence, pursuing career, skin positivity, like healthy weight management, all the things that people are going through. And the ultimate goal is to actually share these experiences, have guests who are someone in their own fields and can help bring value to this to our audience. And eventually, someone will listen to it and get inspired, might get some some of his questions asked and answered, and just helping other people. That's the ultimate goal. If in the future it will get success commercially, yeah, great. But the ultimate goal is just to help people, because for me it's just fun to talk with other guests, talk about interesting topic, because I learn. It's a way of learning for me.
Yeah, that's good.
It's also for me, each person, it's like a book, and I love reading new people and like reading, not really reading, but listening to their stories, their backgrounds, um, because every person keeps so much wisdom inside, almost all people, not everyone, but many of us. And I'm so lucky to be surrounded by such people like you guys. And when we have such conversations, I think it's important that other people can also have this possibility to listen to the things that are important for us. So it could be helpful for others as well. And what I want to add that when I'm a huge podcast fan, I listen to them almost every single day. But usually, whom do we listen to? Huge stars, very popular people worldwide, scientists who already in their field for 30 years, or they are global stars, influencers. But I think it's not, but everyone has something to share. That it doesn't matter how global is this person or not. Maybe this person is not popular at all on social media, but this person does something extremely good and important and helpful that changes other people's lives. So it's worth to share. Maybe it's a traveler that traveled all over the world, but nobody knows this person, or other stories. So yeah, the goal is to make people happier, healthier in today's crazy world.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea, and I like it a lot, especially your memes on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot, guys, for listening to this podcast. We will leave all the links to Hannah's social media profiles. If you want to reach her out, please go ahead. And yeah,
Don't
thank
forget to follow
Don't
Wellness
forget,
and
don't
Care.
forget to follow Wellness and Chaos. Don't
Yeah.
forget. Do it right now, please.
Yes, do it.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode and want to stay updated with our future content and support what we are doing, don't forget to give it a thumb up, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our latest episode.